The men on the swivel gun had dashed back amidships, clearly abandoning any idea of opening an artillery duel. They were in no position to win. Gable swung the glass back to the chaos on her deck, and his smile slipped away from his skull in disbelief. He was staring down the grim black barrels of a pair of vast guns, demi-cannon at the least, being hauled around by dozens of what looked horribly like highly experienced gunners. Where the devil had they come from? Even as he watched, the merchantman's hull winked and blinked as half a dozen gun ports, previously hidden by carelessly hung rigging, were thrown open. No bloody wonder the bastard had been wallowing. It was carrying as much iron as a first-rate.
"All hands to go about,"
he croaked.
"Go about! There's no bastard merchantman!"
Ghent turned and barked the order to the helmsman, but Gable knew full well there was no hope of avoiding the treacherous beast. They were too close now, and he was outgunned.
"Give them everything or they'll blow us out of the water!"
The bucking merchantman was enveloped in a cloud of boiling white smoke. In another moment they heard the thunderous crash of the guns, and in another the appalling shriek of round shot ploughing through the air at the horrified pirates. 3 balls tore vast holes in the gunwale, knocking a brace of cannon aside and mincing the crews trapped beneath them. The doubloon was smothered in smoke, punctuated by the shrill screams of the wounded.
"Open fire!"
Gable yelled. His smaller caliber guns crashed in response, a ragged broadside, with little hope of hitting the wallowing merchantman. It seemed to be dead in the water now, the gun captains busy registering their swiftly moving target. The merchantman had pulled about a couple of points to starboard, bringing the enormous weight of cannon to bear, while the doubloon could only register 4 of her smaller pieces. Gable winced as the enemy vessel opened fire again. A chance shot hit the doubloon's rudder as she began her turn, the vulnerable stern exposed to the bastard whelp of a roundhead. He felt the privateer shudder like a bitch in heat as the swell pulled her back once more. He staggered to the gunwale and peered through the smoke, squinting against the acrid fogs boiling over the deck to try and estimate the damage the rebel dog had inflicted. God damn the cheating rogue to pits of purgatory! Then he heard the bow-loosening banshee rattle of chain shot, iron balls linked by hissing chains, rammed home on a double-charged bed of spikes, nails, slugs, and stones. Gable ducked down instinctively as the hideous squall tore through the air and lashed his decks. Dumbstruck sailors were sliced in two. Heads and arms and pieces of steaming flesh were scattered in all directions as the point-blank barrage swept the doubloon's damaged decks. The gun crews caught the worst, hideously exposed to the terrible storm of shot and scorching iron. Gable grabbed a spurting wound in his arm, cursing in 5 languages as the crippled privateer cruised towards the merrily bobbing hulk. He waved the nauseating smoke away, tried to think his way out of the appalling catastrophe. He knew in his bones it was too late for anything. The doubloon was damn near dead in the water, the damaged rudder swinging uselessly in the fierce swell. Shattered rigging was blowing free, jagged rents appearing all over the shot-blasted canvas. Wounded sailors caught aloft crashed down into the splintered, blood-splattered deck. Ghent had sat down with a sigh, his broad fingers locked over his vitals, vivid blue and red entrails pulsing between the buttons of his coat with every ragged breath. Gable turned and dashed to the far side of his stricken ship, waving the wide-eyed survivors towards the longboat, swinging drunkenly on its cat's cradle of rope.
"Abandon ship! They'll string us all up if they catch us!" he yelled.
His men were cursing and shouting as they pulled themselves up the steps, fleeing the smoky gangways below deck. Another almost surgical broadside had lashed the gun deck, vicious fragments killing and maiming the panicking sailors crouched beside the ports. Some of their colleagues had already fled the carnage and were already diving into the water in terror. Round shot cracked through the scorched air, disabling the last gun on the top deck. Deliberately aimed shots to destroy his fighting capability. The bastard might just as well have been using a scalpel on a dead rat, Gable thought grudgingly, as what was left of his crew lowered the longboat over the side with feverish haste.
"They're lowering the boat, Captain! We'll have to come about!"
the mate bawled, his teeth showing up brilliantly against his powder-smothered features. Nathaniel Hawker grimaced as another acrid cloud of smoke and soot boiled up over the quarterdeck, stinging his already running eyes.
"Come about, Mr. Gray, and cease firing! Cease fire!"
The order was bawled along the deck from one deafened crewman to another. The chickens which had survived the brutal engagement and the massive concussive blast from the hidden guns seemed stunned, shivering inside their baskets at the monstrous man-made storm. Hawker had concealed the cannon beneath stacked crates and great knotted nets of rigging, giving every impression his ship was as slovenly officered and seaworthy as some native canoe trading up the